Welcome to the Freight Project podcast, brought to you by Ceresys, a North American third-party logistics company providing shippers transportation management technology and solutions.
On today's The Freight Project podcast episode, Ceresys welcomes one of our esteemed account executives, David Potter, who has sold the company's transportation management solutions for nearly a decade now. You'll get to learn about David's 2 decades of solution selling, having previously worked in a software sales to enterprise organization. On this episode, David will share with you what are the top 3 to 5 cost savings areas that shippers realize using a transportation management system, or TMS. David then gives his insights when it comes to inbound logistics and a TMS, or why it is vital that outbound shippers can offer more savings to their vendors by extension of using a TMS themselves. I then asked David to share a shipper's story of someone who has used a TMS to focus more on overall company and revenue producing strategies. And finally, David will give you his thoughts on where the future of TMS is headed. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Freight Project Podcast.
Well, hi, David. It's great to have you on the Freight Project Podcast. It's exciting to hear from you as an account executive at Ceresys because you are on the front lines with our customers and prospects, hearing the market's transportation management problems that we at Ceresys aim to solve through our technology and solutions. So we wanted to talk to you today, as you're hearing it from actual shippers, about what are the cost savings, both hard and soft, of a transportation management system, since that's what you're selling day in and day out. So since you're new to the podcast, however, and we've not had you on before, we need to make sure that people know who the great David Potter is. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Thanks, Adam. It's great to be here with you today. On this side of the podcast, I've really enjoyed the series, and so hopefully we can add to the dialogue today. I've been with Ceresys now for 9 years, which absolutely blows me away because it seems like just yesterday. I guess the old adage, time flies when you're having fun is definitely true.
That's right. And I've been there with you for 6, but yeah, it does just seem like yesterday.
I know. I can't believe it. I mean, just 6 years ago, you reached out to me and we did that little, back and forth. So little interview and just literally seems like just last year. So yeah, it's been a great ride for the last 9+ years. I look forward, to many, many more. I've been in solution sales now for 24+ years. And started with a little company out of when I graduated from the University of Utah, and they were quickly bought by Automated Data Processing, ADP. About 9.5 or so years ago, I ran into one of the owners, Steve Norall, at Spin Selling Class in Dallas, and was just absolutely impressed with him and what he told me about Ceresys. So I jumped at the opportunity to get back to, a smaller company that is more customer focused. When I joined the company right out of college, I was employee number 110. And, while Ceresys is a bit bigger than that, I still feel like, we're close and similar in size and definitely customer focused. And that's what, is really, really attracted to me when first coming on to Ceresys.
Yeah, it is all about that culture, And 6 years ago, we were a third of the size we are today. And I'm sure 9 years ago, it was even just a little bit smaller. So it's really been fun and right alongside with you now for these last 6 years to watch us grow. So great that you're on the team. So thanks for letting everybody know who the great David Potter is. And now let's get into the heart of today's episode, the true savings of a transportation management system or TMS for short, and how shippers can realize both hard and soft cost savings. And, if you're out there on the internet, folks, if you Google benefits of a TMS, our blog post on that is going to come up pretty high. Was written in 2013, by the way, so there is a few more advancements. And, one of the things I know that David really works on at Ceresys is he often gets some of these larger shippers, utilizing the Ceresys Radar. So David, when you're talking to current customers or prospects, what are the top 3 to 5 cost savings that they realize and that you hear about from shippers who are using a TMS today?
Yeah, so it's interesting. If you're simply focused on, just the rating and routing aspect of packages, then, one of the top savings that our customers appreciate and see by using our TMS, the Ceresys Rater, is the ability to select the least cost carrier on every shipment. But that's what a TMS will do for you. That's really kind of what the design of most TMS is, to be able to rate and, be able to look at how, particular carriers stack up on a particular shipment. But however, Ceresys goes above and beyond that. We also audit, we consolidate invoices, allowing for reduced costs associated with the accounting. So not only do we help the operations with hard savings in the least cost carrier, we also help the operations from the standpoint of, being able to just very quickly putting a single shipment in a single portal and be able to see multiple, carriers rate against that. So there's some soft cost savings with, along with that hard cost savings. But then, a lot of the soft cost savings are seen in the back end, where, the accounting group has to go through and audit each individual invoice. And because we're pre-auditing them, it gives them, the ability to focus on, what they do uniquely well as an organization, and gives them really some of those soft cost savings, gives them some time back that they wouldn't otherwise have. So, it helps from a payment accuracy standpoint. So there's quite a bit that Ceresys does beyond just the simple rating and routing. And of course, we also are a payment, house for our customers as well. So we do the, kind of the traditional payment house, audit house aspect as well. But if we take a step back, there's also some soft cost savings, in reducing the overall time. And again, just be able to focus on what they do uniquely well. And then also, there's the integration aspect that Ceresys is uniquely qualified and has a great deal of experience with integrating. And I've got quite a few customers that are fully integrated with their back end ERP system. It makes a huge difference for their efficiencies and be able to enter things once. It reduces errors in retyping and so forth. So there's a lot of soft cost savings that are associated with that as well.
Yeah. So just the ability to, ensure compliance at your locations to get the least cost carrier, if that's what you need. The ability to mind, accuracy of invoices, to pay on time as well, to keep up carrier relations so carriers are happy. And then, of course, and I think integration is one of those things that many shippers could take advantage of that maybe they just don't know about, or maybe it's just too hard, or maybe in the past they've gotten an expectation that, well, integration is going to cost me a lot of money. And that's increasingly becoming less true, thanks to APIs and just the modern day way of how things work. And the fact that we're web-based and we're in the cloud, and most ERPs or other technology systems in the supply chain are also in the cloud. It's becoming increasingly easy to integrate, and it just doesn't make sense if you're not going to do that, if you're able to. So I think I'm seeing more of that in the marketplace. Another area that you and I have worked on recently together with a couple of customers that you brought on board is inbound logistics, and I am definitely seeing more supply chain executives and transportation and logistics managers really, understand that, hey, I can master the outbound side. I can get a good solution for that. But what about my vendors? It's a lot like the carriers, right? You got to keep up great relations with those folks. You got to give them good shipping options. You got to have a good freight relationship with vendors as well. So in that onboarding, we put together some documentation and training for our customers, vendors. We extended our service to our customers, vendors as well. And those vendors now have an online portal themselves to schedule pickups to go to our customers' locations for inbound freight. So why do you think it is vital that our shipper customers, vendors, are able to also save by extension when they use our customers, vendor portal, our TMS Lite?
Yeah, as I mentioned previously, the ability our system provides to our customers, vendors, via the vendor module or portal, as it may be referred to, is going to, we see an expansion of that importance. Our customers increasingly see their vendors, less and less available to take on other types of TMSs or even lift a finger to move their product. In some cases, our customers have a really good balanced relationship, and in that case, it's really easy to work with. But in today's environment, there's so many of these vendors that really kind of wield a lot of power over these customers of ours, and therefore you have to have a very seamless, easy to use module for them to get in and create the bill of lading. In a traditional model, a vendor calls up our freight desk and they get a freight agent, and then the freight agent takes the information, builds the bill of lading, and then emails it to them. They then print it, and our freight desk will schedule the pickup and so forth if that's what they'd like to do and whatnot. But now what we've done is we've taken our system, we have made it vendor facing, so that there's no pricing that is shown, just a delta. They can still see least cost carrier, but they're able to take control over that whole process. They can put all the information in, they can schedule the pickup when they want to schedule it, and it's on their, it's a very easy timeline for them to work with. And we also, with our integration, allow them to simply put in a code, and we will pre-populate all the addresses. They just put in their specific shipping information and send it off. So we see that is going to be increasingly important moving forward, as we've seen, as I've been working on. In fact, as you mentioned, the document that we both worked on, the onboarding document, we were working with the customer, and we were really surprised at the amount of kickback that those vendors gave us when we were introducing them to the product, and they were pleased that there was a lot of automation associated with it, and it's really what saved the deal for us, and because the vendor's going to be able to quickly and easily go in and process those shipments.
And that's the whole picture, right? And those are the kinds of things that maybe a shipper, who's just trying to, especially during this capacity crunch, really just survive and mitigate the increased freight costs that we've seen, at least this year, as much as possible. And so it's kind of hard to get out of the process of survival and in the weeds, and then think strategically about how can I optimize outbound by having a great, tool or system like a TMS, and then how can I also optimize inbound, and how does a TMS play into that? Does my vendor have a TMS, or how's it all going to work? And to be able to have a guide like a Ceresys, not just only give you technology and say good luck, but give you technology and then work with you to enact change, as well as ask the simple question, what are you trying to achieve? And then have us actually listen and say, okay, well, let's put a plan together using our technology and our internal resources and your smart brain, because you have the knowledge of your unique freight characteristics and your setup, and work together in a true partnership to help you really start reducing cost, getting everybody on the same page, being more confident about on-time shipments and vendor management and any carrier issues that come up. And that really just, brings you to another level. So beyond hard and soft cost savings, another benefit in using a TMS that could yield more customer revenue for the shipper, as they get out of the weeds of processing hundreds of shipments a week and get to a more strategic place where the shipper can focus more on their customers. Can you share a shipper story who has used a TMS to focus more on overall company and revenue producing strategies because of their use of a TMS now?
Yeah, sure. I've actually got a couple customers that have been able to focus on what they do well, as well as focus on growing their business by, just removing the time in managing their logistics. It's really refreshing as a solution-based salesman to be able to go in. And as you mentioned, it's just so it's, you don't have to be afraid of what does this customer do and how do they do it, because we have so much available, even down to the commerce level. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a huge amount of e-commerce, coming our way, not only because we have small parcel processing, which has historically been kind of the backbone of e-commerce from a shipping standpoint, but now, as you have the Wayfairs and the other, even Amazon, you can buy a compressor on Amazon and have it shipped to you. And, our customers, there's thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of customers out there who are going to market in an e-commerce strategy, and they need the capability of being able to get real-time LTL quotes, in that e-commerce environment. So, we see that that's something that is only going to be growing. And again, we're able to take that integration capability we have, use the APIs that we have, be able to offer real-time LTL quoting in the e-commerce space, and again, be able to extend those efficiencies. So now you increase their customer satisfaction as they're touching their shopping cart. And, then there's this seamless flow of information back from the shopping cart back into our processing, into, again, the Ceresis Rater, and be able to efficiently, go through and then create the bill of lading, get the carrier to pick up. And what we're seeing is not only that capability, but we're seeing, as we're globalizing, in the marketplace, you're seeing more and more of these customers that have vendors, that the customer is now being able to, in real time, be able to go out and look at multiple options, flow into just a couple different choices for their customer. They select that product, and then that will then flow directly into being able to create a drop ship through that vendor that is now an extension of their company. And if you don't have the efficiencies and those capabilities to be able to, to offer that, then, it is a scary place as a consultative salesperson. But, we do have those capabilities, and we only see that market growing.
And yeah, you can't get those kinds of views of your business and respond to how the market's changing. For example, parcel e-commerce shipments alongside maybe traditional LTL, or heck, even LTL through e-commerce, as more, manufacturers are going direct to consumers. So it's an exciting time to be in freight. Technology is at the heart of it, but being able to have a partner where you have a face-to-face meeting to talk about what you're trying to accomplish with your business and how, freight shipping and logistics plays into those goals is pretty exciting to be a part of that. It's maybe those 9 to 6 years have gone by so fast for us because, like you said, it isn't like work. It's solving problems with people and helping them achieve their goals. So a lot of fun. All right. So finally, before I let you go, we talked about what's happening now. We talked a little bit about how things are changing in the future and how we're, helping our customers and future customers get set up for that with our expert guidance around our technology. But where do you think the future of TMS is headed? Is it advanced technologies like the much hyped blockchain that we get fed every day here in 2018, it seems? Or is it more features and capabilities and something more practical that responds to market changes, such as the move towards more final mile and white glove solutions? What do you think, Dave?
Man, that's a loaded question. If I had that kind of crystal ball, first of all, I would be running to New York and cornering the market of Wall Street. But seriously, though, I think that more than likely it's all of the above. As technology advances and allows large retail chains to know of literally in an instant, where an avocado came from, literally the very row and, plot from a grower. And so if there's some kind of a blight, if there's, some issue with that avocado, they know immediately, A, and B, they also know which stores have that affected product. It allows for a large group like that to be able to efficiently, instead of just saying, okay, we need every single one of these products from this customer or from this vendor pulled, they can go and strategically and very cost effectively pull those that are affected, and also, reduce the outfall and keep goodwill. So there's some really neat opportunities, at a blockchain level in a supply chain, that are coming down the pike. And if you don't have a group that is, like Ceresis, that's sitting on the board of the blockchain from a supply or from a logistics standpoint, I think that you potentially may be missing out, going forward. So we're ready. We're already skating towards that, and it'll really will help our customers, proverbially skate ahead of the puck, so to speak. So that's exciting. But I think also one of the things that I've seen is as we go back to the e-commerce conversation, that naturally, when you start talking about those wayfarers and you talk about, some of the furniture groups that are, because furniture just naturally seems to be an e-commerce friendly product. And, when you have that, when you're having, residential deliveries, you are now moving away from what the traditional LTL carrier can provide from a service standpoint, at least cost effectively anyway. You've got to have these groups that specialize in basically receiving product from a common carrier, either repackaging it or, just take the product and then be able to put it on their trucks. And typically, that final mile white glove kind of a situation, whether you've got dunnage that needs to be taken away, whether it's a first threshold, whatever it is, all those services are very cost effective or very, they're much more cost effective than a common carrier would be. And, allows for those e-commerce groups, even small groups, not the Amazon gorillas, to be able to provide that kind of service and be able to grow their business. So I see that as we see more and more of that type of, demand, I think that we're going to see an increased need, and why we are ramping up internally with those kind of services. So I really see that it's both. I think that as a technology company like Ceresis that just happens to be in logistics, that's kind of one way you can look at who we are and what we do. It's really for us, it's going to be both of those things. I really see that's where the future is for us.
Okay. I mean, it's an exciting time to, be in this industry. And I know with Ceresis, the coolest thing that I've seen is that, we launched the parcel capability to compare real time against LTL as a market response. We launched our e-commerce LTL shopping cart rating engine as a market response. We launched our vendor module as a market response. And the reality is that the future of TMS is only as successful as technology providers listen to the marketplace and listen to their customers to pivot towards solutions that are based in reality, and to have our eyes on things that are seemingly out there for now, but are coming pretty close, like blockchain. So, David, thanks for being a guest on the podcast. We're going to have you back again soon to discuss another topic. So thanks for joining us today. And for all of our listeners, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Freight Project podcast. And as always, we'll see you next Tuesday.